Good morning, my dears. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And I also want to say Lashana Tova to those of you that are going to be celebrating Rosh Hashanah beginning at sunset today. It is the first day of the High Holy Days in the Jewish tradition, the Days of Awe. And I'll talk a little bit more about Rosh Hashanah as we get into the morning. But first of all, I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I am happy to see those of you who have made it here today, and hi to those of you who are with us online this morning, on this beautiful morning, the first autumn morning of the year. I'd like to invite you to take a moment now to stand and greet one another, introduce yourselves to people you don't know or haven't seen for a while. If you do dash into the kitchen to say hi to any of our cooks this morning in there, come right back, okay? And for those of you that are with us online this morning, take a moment to send an email or a text message out to friends of yours and invite them to watch us on the YouTube channel this morning, Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And give yourselves a hug. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us. I'll be right back with you in just a moment. All right, come on back to your places as we prepare for the opening song. So I'm going to invite you to stand. And this morning the music is by Lisa Ferraro, and we're starting off with a song that is really easy because it just repeats. It's called Shine. So hold on. Stand, and join us for the opening song. This is Shine. You'll catch on right away.
This song called Shine, about living that joy. In my heart, in my soul, in the joy of what we know, there's one light, one love, God.
Sing that again.
In my heart, in my soul, in the joy of what we know, there's one light, one love, God. In all I say and all I do, let this divine light shine, shine, shine. Let this divine light shine.
That's the whole song. Now we go back to the beginning.
In my heart, in my soul, in the joy of what we know, there's one light, one love, God. In my heart, in my soul, in the joy of what we know, there's one light, one love, God. In all I say and all I do, let this divine light shine, shine, shine. Let this divine light shine, 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 shine.
Give yourselves a hand as you shine, and you may be seated. Go ahead and silence your cell phone now as we prepare to turn within. You know, I do want to say about Golden Gate, this is a place to safely explore the beliefs and the opinions and the thoughts and the programming that drive our lives, to look at those, to be able to experience those, to be able to become aware of those safely, and to deepen our relationship with Spirit in the process. So we do that together with everything we do beginning on Sunday morning. So this now is going to be a song that Lisa is doing that she's created for kirtan. It's a Hindu chant, and then following this will be our opening prayer with our prayer practitioner, Rick Walt. So just settle into this piece of chanting.
With a different melody, one that I wrote just the other day for our kirtan group, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Oh, where'd she go? No, Lisa, no. Do that again.
With a different melody, one that I wrote just the other day for our kirtan group, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya.
Right here, right now, in this perfect moment, I release every energy in my body that I feel is restricting the flow of the magnificent one, God. And as I release, I welcome, as nature abhors a vacuum, I welcome that presence of the One, God, Spirit, Yahweh, higher power, whatever the name, the energy of the One that runs through each and every thing, item, thought, planet, universe. It is all the creation of God. And I open myself up to the beautiful words from Reverend Mary this morning. And through the one mind, everyone here, within the sound of my voice, be it here or over the internet, is moved by her beautiful words this morning. I know indeed that the truth of God comes through the voice of Reverend Mary today. And for this, I am just so grateful. I am so grateful. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Rick. Our music this morning is by Lisa Ferraro, who has been with us before. She is an award-winning singer-songwriter and the founder of Soul Call, a global nonprofit. And her theme is Opening Hearts, Awakening Minds. This particular song she's doing with Natalia Zuckerman. And so it starts off pretty softly, so give it a listen here.
If you get worried, what you ought to do is sing. If you get worried, what you ought to do is sing. If you get worried, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your troubles, it just might pass. If you get lost, what you ought to do is sing. If you get lost, what you ought to do is sing. If you get lost, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your troubles, it just might pass. Sing about your troubles, it just might pass. Sing about joy. Sing about love, hope and light. Sing about your trouble, just might pass. Just might pass. If you get broken, what you ought to do is sing. If you get broken, what you ought to do is sing. If you get broken, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your troubles, it just might pass. Sing about your troubles, it just might pass. Sing about joy. Sing about love, hope and light. Sing about your trouble, just might pass. Just might pass. Just might pass. Just might pass.
Lisa and Natalia, there you go. So we are, of course, continuing with our theme for the year of living from the heart of wonder. And the days of awe, or the high holy days in the Jewish tradition, are those days of wonder. They begin with these 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, beginning at sunset tonight, which are the beginning of the celebration of God as the creator of all that is, who begins and ends in delight, in joy, in bliss, in wonder. And everything that the infinite creates comes out of that place of delight in creation. So with Rosh Hashanah, it becomes a question then of, are we also creating our lives from that place? Our theme this month has to do with work, as in how we interact with the world, our creative endeavors, our work, if we're working, but also all the things that we do that we can bring our love to. So September's theme has been work is love made visible. And the idea with Rosh Hashanah is that the infinite presence has made its love visible through creation. Now, everything that we do can make that love more visible. So we are celebrating Rosh Hashanah, and today our theme is let the beauty we love be what we do. So the beauty that we love should be the guidance for what we choose to do in the world. You know the book, Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow? That may or may not be true, but nevertheless, whether it is or not, doing what we love opens up our receptors to more. So we want to take a moment to honor that tradition of Rosh Hashanah. Yes. One of the requirements of Rosh Hashanah, particularly the first night, is to hear the shofar, the ram's horn, being blown, and to then begin to appreciate the creation of God, or God as the magnificent, the creator, the king of the universe, if you will, and all of us as coming forth out of that delight of creation and being called to enter into that in the way that we interact in the world. And, you know, one of the things that I love are stories. So I have to start with a story, of course, this morning. This is an older woman who gets pulled over. Is there a problem, officer? Ma'am, you were speeding. Oh, I see. Can I see your license, please? Oh, I'll give it to you, but I don't have one. You don't have one? Well, no, I did until I lost it 4 years ago for drunk driving. I see. Can I see your vehicle registration papers, please? Well, you know, you could, officer, but I'm afraid I can't do that. Oh, why is that? Well, this car is stolen. Stolen? Oh, yes. I took it after I killed the owner. You what? His body parts are in some plastic bags in the trunk. I could show you. The officer slowly backed away to his car and called for backup. And within a few minutes, there were 5 police cars surrounding this older woman's car. A senior officer with his gun ready approached the vehicle very carefully. Ma'am, step out of your vehicle, please. Oh, of course, officer. Is there a problem? One of my officers told me that you have stolen this car and murdered the owner. Murdered the owner? Yes, ma'am. Please open the trunk. She opens the trunk. The trunk was empty. Is this your car, ma'am? Oh, yes, sir. Here's my registration for it. My officer here says you don't have a driver's license. The woman dug in her handbag, opened a small clutch purse, and handed him her driver's license. Well, thank you, ma'am. One of my officers told me that you didn't have a license, that you stole this car, and that you murdered and hacked up the owner. Well, I never. Betty told you I was speeding, too. I love stories that have a twist at the end. I love them. So part of doing what I love is telling these stories, silly as they might be. Now, what is the beauty that we love? What is the beauty that we love in the world? It is everywhere. It is everywhere. It is in children. It is in celebrations. It is in athletics and games and art and architecture, through our family and friends, through gardening and nature and being outdoors, through ideas and mystery and wonder. All of these things that we can engage in, that we can seek out, that we can participate in, are things that bring us joy, things that we take delight in. So our participation in those, the more that we enjoy them, is part of our work in the world. Our spiritual expression is delight. And what an easy and revealing and refreshing and renewing kind of work to be doing in the world, to approach it with the intention of looking for what gives us joy and wonder and delight. If we look around and focus our attention on the things that we see that convey beauty to us, if we're listening, noticing the things that we hear that bring us some kind of gift or some kind of beauty, the scent and aroma of wonderful food or flowers, hopefully you're not allergic to them, but whatever the scent or aroma or fragrance is that you find lovely, might be freshly baked bread, cookies, something like that. Albert Einstein said, "The state of mind which enables a man to do work of this kind is akin to that of the religious worshiper or the lover. The daily effort comes from no deliberate intentions or program, but straight from the heart." Anything that we do well and we enjoy doing can be part of extending the creative process of God into the world through love. Ernest Holmes was quite struck by Sri Aurobindo's statement that the why of creation was for the delight of God. In other words, the whole act of creation was play. Its intention was bliss and enjoyment and delight. And each one of us is an expression of that delight. I'm remembering a colleague of mine who wrote something a number of years ago about, since I'm here as an expression of God, and God is experiencing the universe, its universe through me, I pledge not to be boring. I would like God to have fun being me, or expressing through me, or experiencing the universe through me. Now, necessarily, when we do that, when our intention is to enter in with taking big bites and enjoying life, is that, of course, our experience of appreciation is a part of the appreciation experience of the divine, because we're not separate from that. Dr. Michael Beckwith said, "What we do with all of our resources, talents, skills, money, is made sacred or profane by the consciousness in which we use it." So anything that we do can become sacred in the consciousness in which we're doing it. And I think that when we enjoy what we're doing, we add that depth to it, that richness to it, that also is attractive. So we talk about the law of attraction sometimes, the creative law, the process of embodying what we want to experience, and therefore magnetically drawing it to ourselves, or magnetically drawing ourselves to it. Yes? Yes, you remember this, yes? I'm not speaking in another language you don't know, right? Yes, okay. So, in entering into that with that kind of enjoyment, we do several things. We invite others into the enjoyment. We expand our capacity for enjoyment. We expand the enjoyment itself, and we entertain God in the process. What could be better? It's a win-win for everybody all the way around. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "The universe must exist for the glory of God." in a sense, but really for the self-expression and the delight of God. You and I are born out of it, and we are born out of a divine urge that creates. So, in the simplest of terms, every time you have a conversation with somebody, you're creating something new. No two conversations are identical. You're never going to encounter someone, even the same person day after day, in exactly the same way that you have in the past. It's always an act of creation. If you give a gift, like the fellows who are preparing brunch for us today, if you give a gift to people, the consciousness with which you create that gift travels along with what is given. So hopefully they had a good time in the kitchen so that what we're eating is happy energy when we sit down to brunch together today. That is an experience of joy and nourishment that goes beyond the nutritional composition of the food into the very energetics that it was infused with from the love of the people who were interacting with one another and putting it together and serving it and collecting the money and everything that the guys are doing this morning. Does this make sense, what I'm saying? John O'Donohue wrote this wonderful thing. This is an excerpt from a poem called Callings. He says, when you find that what you're doing is what you love, what you were brought here to do, it makes for a rich and contented life. You have come into rhythm with your longing. Your work and your action emerge naturally. You don't have to force yourself. Your energy is immediate. Your passion is clear and creative. So the recognition that actually even a conversation is a calling. Even opening your car can be a calling to notice something. I remember years ago when my son was very small, I was in a hurry to go somewhere, and I was rushing to try and get the car open, to get the car door open. I couldn't seem to get it to, click with my clicker to get it to come open. And after a minute or so, I discovered it wasn't locked. I was trying to get into a car with a particular mindset that was incorrect, and as a result, I thought I couldn't get in, but really the door was open all the time. Life is a lot like this. The door is open all the time, but sometimes we project obstacles and lock doors in front of ourselves, and we're completely convinced that nothing can change and we can't get through that. Anybody ever had that experience? And then you discover that you're wrong somehow, and it's embarrassing and also a relief at the same time. So in this creative process, we might catch ourselves in the moment and let it be funny. I was thinking yesterday about an audition I did in Los Angeles a very long time ago. And this was at a time when I was taking myself even more seriously than I do now. I was more defensive, had less of a sense of humor, and less willingness to acknowledge mistakes or be able to run with them. So I go in to do this monologue. I'm doing a monologue, a Shakespearean monologue from a comedy. I'm not dressed for that. I'm wearing a pair of, big-legged wool pants that zip in the front. And at one point, I lunge down for something, and the zipper bursts open on the front of my pants. Now, the intelligent thing to do, even in audition, would have been to go, oh my God, and, fall on the floor laughing or stand up and try and pull myself together. No. I went right on with the piece like nothing had happened. Now, in my mind at age 22 or whatever it was, my thought was, this would demonstrate the show must go on, that I could not be distracted even by, anything. But as I think back on it now, I'm so embarrassed, not by the zipper, which was embarrassing enough, but by my inability to respond to the moment that was actually happening. It was like I was completely oblivious. Needless to say, I did not get the part. I have no idea what I was auditioning for anymore. All I remember is the humiliation of the bus ride back home, thinking about what had happened and how bizarre that was. So even in the moments where we completely screw up and embarrass ourselves, there is an instant there where we can be creatively entertained by the unexpectedness and the ludicrousness of the entire thing. Do you know what I mean? And the less defended we are about every little thing, the more we have an ability to enter into the moment and to, rather than being angry or humiliated or whatever, and crawling under a rock, to actually take the moment of hilarity and enjoy it from the same perspective as the people who are shocked at, what just happened, right? But no, that was not possible back then. Now, as a result, I remember that today with a sense of overwhelming embarrassment. And yet, that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. So I was thinking also about looking at this from a different perspective. This is a poem by a woman, Jenny Joseph, and she wrote this when she was about 26 years old. Now, somebody asked her about it recently. I'll tell you her comment after I read it. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple with a red hat which doesn't go and doesn't suit me. And I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves and satin sandals and say we've no money for butter. I shall sit down on the pavement when I'm tired and gobble up samples in shops and press alarm bells and run my stick along the public railings and make up for the sobriety of my youth. I shall go out in my slippers in the rain, pick the flowers in other people's gardens, and learn to spit. You can wear terrible shirts and grow more fat and eat 3 pounds of sausages at a go, or only bread and pickle for a week, and hoard pens and pencils and beer mats and things in boxes. But now, we must have clothes that keep us dry and pay our rent and not swear in the street and set a good example for the children. We must have friends to dinner and read the papers. But maybe I ought to practice a little now, so people who know me are not too shocked and surprised when suddenly I am old and start to wear purple. Now, somebody asked her, she's now in her 90s, somebody asked her if she wears purple with a red hat now. She said, "Oh no, I can't stand purple. It doesn't suit me." I thought that was very entertaining considering what she'd said as a young woman. Because even now, she doesn't want to show up in something that doesn't suit her, you see? And I'm exactly the same way. I put something on, I look like a bag lady, and I think I could do better. I don't think I want to be seen in this. I don't think I want to go anywhere in this. I'm certainly not going to buy this. Anybody else relate to that? Now, I'm not saying you should. Just it's interesting to notice how much of a difference that makes. If we had no mirrors, if we very rarely saw ourselves reflected anywhere, in a window or a puddle or something, we wouldn't have any idea, really, what we looked like most of the time. And we might have a lot more fun. Could scare a few people from time to time, but we might have a lot more fun, actually. It becomes a process of recognizing that everything we do that is in a sense of creative joy can be in alignment with the beautiful and the beneficial, even when it isn't beautiful in a traditional sense, even when it's beautiful in its quirkiness, or beautiful in its strangeness, or beautiful in its amazing wonder. Anybody ever seen a sinkhole? Or pictures of a sinkhole? It's an astounding phenomenon. You just think, where did it go? You know? It's amazing. It's beautiful in its way as a mystery. Like, what happened there? Particularly when there's a vehicle that's gone down into it, you know. So we might ask ourselves then, what are we creating? What activities empower and embody life and love and joy and enjoyment? And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be making a dinner. It can be covering up somebody taking a nap. It can be tying your shoes. It just depends on the consciousness we bring to it. Interestingly, we're usually busy with consciousness of what's coming or consciousness of what just happened rather than consciousness in this moment. Now, without looking, I want you to think about your feet. What shoes are you wearing? Do you have socks on? What color are your socks? Do they have a pattern on them? Do they have lace on them? Guys, if you do, I want you to show me afterwards. So the question is, how much attention did we pay to getting dressed this morning? Now, without looking, I want you to think, if you came here with somebody else this morning, without looking at them, what are they wearing? Did you notice? Do you remember? Did you pay attention? So here's the question. Are we, or can we be, I think the answer to this is pretty much always yes, more present in the now, in this moment? Can we be more present to what we're creating in the way that we're listening, or in the way that we're speaking, or in the way that we're looking at one another? Can we be more present? Now just take a moment without moving. Notice the posture that you're in. Is that completely comfortable? I mean, it doesn't have to be, just notice. So before I said that, were you aware of how comfortable you were or weren't? Now, here's the thing. I know we can't be aware of everything in the present moment all the time because we'd be so busy with it. Just with our internal processes, we wouldn't really be in the world. But we can check in every once in a while and just notice what we're noticing to see if we can bring more delight into that, in that moment. This is one of those stories that is the universe having fun with somebody. Now, you know sometimes when this happens with you, something completely unexpected. This was written by Charles Tart, who is a researcher and a theorist in the fields of hypnosis, psychology, transpersonal psychology, parapsychology, consciousness, and mindfulness. He's been doing that since 1963. This is an article he wrote in 2012. I've never been interested in golf or played it, unless you want to count less than a dozen instances over 50 years where friends took me to play miniature golf. So in 1971, when Psychic magazine asked me to do a review of Michael Murphy's new book, Golf in the Kingdom, I was a little hesitant. Now, an aside here, how many of you have read Golf in the Kingdom? Oh, only a few of you. You definitely should read it. But anyway, back to this. I didn't really know anything about golf. On the other hand, Michael Murphy was an old friend, and I knew the book would involve material about psychic matters, which I did know a lot about, so I agreed to review it. Golf in the Kingdom tells the story of Michael Murphy, a young traveler who accidentally stumbles upon a mystical golfing expert while in Scotland. Even after a friendship lasting almost 50 years now, Michael doesn't tell me how much of the book is autobiographical and how much all just came to him as story, whatever that means. As often happens, other tasks interfered, and the deadline for the review was upon me. And then I came down with a bad flu and spent several days lying around, aching and sweating with a fever. I had read the book, but had not thought at all about what I was going to say in my review. The last night of my flu, it seemed as if I spent most of the night getting lessons from the mystical golf pro, Shivas Irons, who was the central character in Golf in the Kingdom. And upon waking, I had no idea what those lessons were about, although I think I understood them during the dreams, but felt I had been working hard all night to learn. My fever was broken, though. So after breakfast, I picked up a clipboard and some paper and went into my living room to start writing the review. And to my amazement, there was a golf ball lying on the rug in the middle of the floor. In the 34 years of my life to then, I had never owned a golf ball, nor ever seen one in my house. Further, it wasn't just any golf ball, because printed on it in large letters it said, Stanford Driving Range. Stanford happened to be where I had met Michael Murphy. in the fall of 1963, when I went to Stanford for a postdoctoral fellowship in Ernest Hildgaard's hypnosis research laboratory. Now, part of my mind always looks for normal explanations before thinking about the paranormal, so I tried to find one. I had 2 young children, and I suppose it was possible that one of them had found the golf ball somewhere outside and brought it home. But on that particular day and no other? And the golf ball from the Stanford driving range? I was living in Davis, California at the time, and Stanford University was over 100 miles away. If it was hit there, it was a very, very long drive. Many people have written to me over the years telling me about their unusual experiences, and since I'm the professor, I'm supposed to explain things to them. Sometimes I can, at least to the extent of telling them that other people have had similar experiences, and the frequency of that kind of experience is enough that we have a formal name for it, such as telepathy or clairvoyance. As to why they had the experience, sometimes it seemed relatively obvious given their life circumstances. Other times, I had no idea why it happened. So I've taken to thinking that sometimes unusual experiences occur simply to rattle our cages, as it were, to remind us that the world is a very big, mysterious place and interesting. And we should not settle too snugly into our favorite explanations of the way things work. Bless you. Needless to say, the golf ball gave me a magnificent opening for my review. Golf in the Kingdom was just out then, and no one could have anticipated it would become a bestseller. As of 2012, it has sold over 1 million copies and been translated into 91 languages. And I'm the second person in the world after Michael Murphy to receive instruction from Shiva Science. There must be more to this than just providing me with a great introduction to a book review. As to what that more is, well, maybe my cage needed rattling at the time. When coincidences like this occur, it's easy for us to pass them off as just that. But who knows what the universe is trying to wake us up to by having a little fun with us, by doing something that is unexplainable and unpredictable and is a complete outlier from anything that happened before. So I want to do an odd thing this week in asking you to pay attention and look for, this week, one odd thing that happens around you in your life that you cannot explain. One odd thing. Now, the first odd thing would be if you actually remember this by the time you get into your car today. So I'm going to plant an idea that as soon as you turn the ignition on today, you're going to remember this. You're going to remember that I said this. And if I might, I would say every time you turn the ignition on this week, you're going to remember to notice if anything unusual has happened around you on that day, or to tune yourself into watching for it. And let's see what happens. Because we want to let the beauty we love be what we do, even when it's just turning on the ignition. Namaste. All right, now let's step inside and anchor ourselves in this. So, as we turn our attention to the beauty we love, we allow every image, thought, memory, feeling of things and places and people and experiences that we love or have loved to flow through our awareness, through our consciousness, experiencing with delight each one of them in this moment as we remember, as we think, as we open ourselves. And we do consciously know that every one of these is an expression of God, appearing specifically for us, tailored exactly to us, meant for our joy, for our delight, for our bliss. and for our deepening consciousness and awareness. So with gratitude, not only do we appreciate all of these, but we open our hands, our hearts, our minds to more delight, more surprises, more bliss, more wonder. We invite it to find us this week. We invite it to engage us this week. We invite ourselves to come into a greater sense of delight and appreciation throughout this week. And we set this into motion right now by the power of this word. We have opened the door. We are beckoning our good, our joy, our surprise, our delight to come in, welcoming it now. And so we let this prayer go with anticipation and great gratitude for the tremendous good and delight surprising us this week. We claim it, we allow it, we're grateful for it. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Please stand now and join me for the morning affirmation. As we say, my work is done with love, and so it adds to beauty in the world. Everything I do, I am the voice, the hands, and the heart of spirit, and so it is. You may be seated. And that includes the way that you receive your food this morning from the fellas, the way that you share with people at the table. All of it. So this is our sacred giving time. One of the tremendous gifts of our lives is the ability to give. And as long as we're alive, we have something to give, even if it's just a smile or a nod or a glance. And so it's important that we give what is within our power to give, because every time we do that, we open and expand the universe in and around us to responding to us in like kind and giving us even more, entrusting us with more to use, to enjoy, and to send out into the world. So we invite you and hope that you're interested in giving to your spiritual home. And you can text a donation to this phone number with the dollar amount for Global Heart Center for Spiritual Living this morning. You can write a check. You may have already given. You may be on an automatic giving. If you are a guest this morning, I want you to know your presence here is your gift. So we want to bless all that's being given and received right here together in this moment. So I invite you to put your gift near your heart, or if you're giving it with a loved one, to hold it in your hands together as we say this as one voice. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Please go ahead.
A song called Nothing Can Dim, and taking that light out into the world. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. The lyric is from Dr. Maya Angelou, and we put music to it. And
you can sing along with this if you like too.
nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Light that shines from within.
That's the whole song.
Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Light that shines from within. One more time. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within. Nothing can dim this light that shines from within, light that shines from within, light that shines from within. One more time. Light that shines from within.
So we're grateful for Lisa this morning. And we want to, with great gratitude now, all of us together, receive and accept this gift on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, for going out into the world this week with any of this that goes out into the world. Let it seed humor. Let it seed self-awareness. Let it seed quiet delight and wonderful surprises. And so it is. All right, if you happen to be here with us for the very first time this morning, you will find on this back table, we have welcome packets that are available for you to pick up and take with you. And we encourage you to pull out the blue card that is inside, to fill it out and turn it in. Galen's holding these up in the back. Turn it into Galen back there, and we will give you a little book as our thank you for being here with us this morning, and to encourage you to come back and be with us in the future. It's a little book of affirmations that are practical and delightful and can help you recenter yourself in challenging moments. So we hope that you'll come back. We'd love to see you. I also want to thank everyone that was here this morning and is here this morning, and all of the guys that are out in the kitchen. I didn't put their names on here, getting the breakfast brunch ready for us this morning. And this beautiful altar that Leslie created for us this morning, along with the help of Christine Geiger. Let's thank everybody for doing this morning. Thank you, thank you. And especially joy to our guys who are out in the kitchen getting the brunch ready for us. It is immediately after this morning's celebration. It is $10. The proceeds from that will go back to Golden Gate, and pretty soon they're going to be setting up chairs out here and tables and place settings, and the food will be right over here, and they'll help usher you through and collect your $10 and invite you to come and join us. So we're looking forward to that. My foundations class did not go last week. And so we're giving it a little more time. Hopefully we'll get to start this Thursday. So we're opening it up for some more signups. Now, in the past, one of my students said, I learned the power of my thinking. I was aware of the idea of one mind in the universe, and as a consequence, it seemed that only good things happened to me. I learned to use affirmations on a daily basis, even for small things, and could see results. And another student who has been around for quite a while said, this class has been a wonderful review of Science of Mind. I'd taken foundations before, but I think that I gained even more from this class. So what I want to say to you is that as many years as I've taught foundations, I always find that I am reminded of things that are important for me to remember at this point in my life. And as I reread all these things that I've read before, I discover things I'd forgotten, even occasionally discover things that Ernest Holmes has written into the book since I last read it. Never mind that it's underlined, highlighted, and there's a note in the margin. I've never seen it before. So I just encourage you to think about reviewing this foundations class and or taking it as an introduction to our philosophy. The registration is open now. You can sign up on the back table, and Sonia will contact you this week, or you can register right on our website. Also, we are planning for another opportunity to serve the San Francisco Marin Food Bank on October 11th. And please sign up now with Ellen Nicosia. She's right here this morning. Let Ellen know if you would like to participate, or you can email or phone her, give her your name, address, all your contact info. And if you sign up for one of these opportunities to serve, that means that the food bank is counting on you in terms of how much work is going to get done that day. So if you cannot come after you've committed, as soon as you know that, please let Ellen know, because sometimes we have a waiting list of people who would like to help, but we've already have our quota signed up. This past month, we had 9 people signed up, which was our quota. 3 people showed up. So that meant the food bank could not do everything it had intended to accomplish that day. We don't want to let them down. So please sign up, show up. If you can't show up, let Ellen know so she can pull somebody else in. Deal? Great. So Ellen will be looking for you this morning. And the women of the community congregational church have invited our ladies to participate in their fall women's retreat. It's called Retreat into Deeper Wisdom. It's one day, Saturday, October 15th from 9:30 to 4:30. It'll be in the beautiful little seminar room at the Congregational Community Church in Tiburon. That's their beautiful labyrinth, which will be available for your walking pleasure that day. And the fee is $50 for the day. It includes everything, including a catered luncheon. So you can see up here, you want to RSVP to Marie Salerno by October 5th, which is coming up pretty soon. So if you'd like to participate, let her know right away. And our climate action tip of this week has to do with transportation in San Francisco. If you would, how many of you like to drive in San Francisco? And those of you who live there, right. How many of you like to park in San Francisco? Yeah. So Muni now has a special Muni mobile pass that you can download onto your phone, and you look up Day Pass in the app. You can do unlimited trips on Muni buses and trains and everything but the cable cars. It's valid through 11:59 p.m., so you can, even if you start late in the day, you just activate your pass when you board. They do have also special day passes that are available that include cable cars if you have family in town and you want to do that. So this is one of the things you can do to save yourselves stress and save the planet some pollution at the same time. Now, another thing you can do to save yourselves stress is get prayer. It's great to pray, and sometimes we're so tangled up in whatever's going on in our own lives that it's really hard to pray. I mean, I find in those circumstances that I can start to pray, and the next thing I know, instead of being in the prayer, I'm just actively worrying about whatever it is, you know. That's not exactly the direction I had intended to go, but if I call my practitioner or I talk to a prayer partner or a colleague and have them pray for me, I can surrender my worry to their knowing of the truth for me. I can lean on their faith. So on Sundays, this table is always stocked, personed by practitioners who are there to serve you this morning in prayer. Now, that's not just that they pray during the service for all of us. It is that they're there after the service to pray with you privately if you have something that is weighing heavy on your heart. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. If you are in a rush, you can drop a prayer request into the box there, or you can also request prayer on our website. And all of those are ways that you will be entered into the prayer tree or the prayer of these practitioners who are serving on Sunday. So I want to invite the practitioners now to get up and surround the room. All the people in their white stoles are our licensed prayer practitioners at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. They are licensed by Centers for Spiritual Living after a great deal of study and practice, and they renew their licenses every 2 years. So they are actively engaged in this process for you and for us all the time. So we are going to now move into a prayer chamber where all of us will be praying at the same time our own prayer for all of us. And rather than trying to tune into any one of us, just allow the prayers to wash over you and to let them in. All right, here we go. In this moment, right here and right now, I know there is one infinite presence and power flows throughout the universe. It is all that I am right here. It's the truth of this place, all of these people, of our brunch this morning. And so I claim for all of us an opening to God's gifts, to the divine delight that surrounds and enfolds us, to allow us to perceive it, to experience it, to enjoy it, to celebrate it, to share it, to live it and be it. I'm grateful knowing that we can, that this is possible, that it's happening now. I'm so grateful to know it, permeating everything that continues out of this moment, this day. So I'm grateful, so grateful. I let this prayer go. I let it be now, in peace, in gratitude, in grace. And so it is. And so it is. Please stand and join together now for the benediction and the closing song. And by the way, the closing song is one that we have sung several times with Lisa before. We're one in the spirit, and it repeats, so it's pretty easy. So first, the benedictions. We say, whoops, whoops, whoops.
I think I might have played
Wait,
this for you once
Lisa,
before.
please. Just wait. One more moment. All right. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is.
I think I might have played this for you once before. It's easy to catch on. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of God, in the Spirit of love. We are one in the Spirit of love. We are one in the Spirit of love. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of love, in the Spirit of joy. We are one in the Spirit of joy.
Sing it out
We
now.
are one, we are one in the Spirit of joy. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of joy, in the Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of